Come on! Chalk another one up to the Arteta haters. I'm sorry that result there didn't fit your agenda. What a shame. And Arsenal have beaten Liverpool in the Carabao Cup to go through into the next round. I don't care that it was scrappy. I don't care that we probably didn't deserve it. I don't care that our penalty to win the game was pretty darn poor. I don't care because we won and it's a really good moment. I'm just really happy because we needed that result. The mental lift from that, the confidence that will give us going into these next games was the most important thing. You can throw away some like stupid results at times, and the Liverpool League game was an expected defeat, to be honest. I wasn't expecting anything really from that game. So to get something from this to take us into those next games, I mean, lovely stuff. Jared points out Arteta and Leno haters. I mean, where are you now? Where are you? Because I'm sorry, but Bernd Leno today was fantastic. Saved 2 penalties and had an absolutely great time in goal all game. Solid, continuously. And there's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. There is people that are going to be looking at themselves and going, why was I so reactionary? Why was I so reactionary? Leno made one key error against Liverpool in the league game, which obviously led to that goal. And other than that, he made some excellent saves. There was not much you could do about the other goals either. And then when you consider what he's put on today and the saves that he made today, goes and reminds people to screw their heads on a bit tighter and realise that actually we've got a pretty darn good keeper. So it's as simple as that. And you need to take a long hard look at yourselves. I'll be really honest about it. That you can be really that reactionary to think, oh, we've made a mistake. Leno is terrible. That guy that got second best player of the season last year behind Aubameyang. Yeah, he's pretty terrible, isn't he? No, I'm sorry, but unbelievable stuff. We don't win that game without him. We do not win that game without him. So wish all the best of luck to Martinez, but he's not our goalkeeper now. So there's no point crying about it. We might as well get behind the goalkeeper that we've got. And that's exactly what we're going to do because Leno was fantastic. Tom says that Mainsley penalty. Can we have the Mainsley emojis flying about in the chat this evening for that cheeky penalty? Unbelievably, the hubris from that man knows no bounds. But to be fair, I think there was a little bit of gamesmanship going on from Adrian throughout. I love the grin from Pepe as well after that. Fantastic stuff. Really, really fantastic stuff. So, yeah, it's just nice, isn't it? It's like the League Cup, as I've said. I'd rather get in top 4 than win the League Cup. But it's just good. It's good for momentum. It's good for morale. There's talking points from the game we're going to discuss because there's some things that certainly need discussing in terms of the lineup, in terms of who played, in terms of who didn't play, in terms of who didn't come on, in terms of who was in the squad. There's actually a lot to break down. So we're going to get into all of that. Casper said, Pepe gave it all, and that's what I want to see from him. Talk about Pepe. The thing about Pepe is he played a really odd position tonight. He was, to be honest, the formation, if you wanted to nail down, I mean, let's see, because I reckon there's going to be a lot of differences in the chat. What do you think, formation-wise, just a static on paper, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-3-3, 3-4-3, what do you think the formation was tonight for most of the game? Because I'd be loving to see the variety that you guys might come up with because it was so fluid. There was so much change. Even when the subs came on, it changed later on in the game. It was so nice to see just so many different styles going on and that we could transition between formations. And I think that there was so many. It was weird to see Pepe playing in that sort of forward line role in a 2 with Nketiah. I mean, we're already seeing differences in the chat. Rydog says 4-2-4-4-2. Zamir says 3-4-3. Matt Gray says 4-3-3. Jared says 3-4-3. Ezra says 4-2-3-1. Rodney says 4-3 Saka. Tyree says 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 3-2-4. I mean, look at this. The amount of variety, and that's why I wanted to get you guys in and saying it because there was so much variety there in what we saw with the formations, and we can't nail down a significant one at all. Fantastic stuff. So yeah, it was really fluid. I thought that actually there was for quite a majority of the game, there was a two up top with Nketiah and Pepe playing together. And then when Lacazette came on, it was definitely a two up top in those two. Willock kind of playing on the right-hand side, Saka playing on the left-hand side, and then you had Ceballos and Xhaka in the middle. So it was kind of a weird 4-4-2 that was fluid and changed into a 4-3-3. At times, Kolasinac would kind of drop in. Saka would then become sort of that left-sided of the midfield, of sort of that back four with Kolasinac holding and Gabriel in the middle, with then Cedric kind of pushing up into that right midfield position to make it a 3-4-3. It was so strange how much sort of fluidity there was. But it was good. I thought it was good to see that we can play with these different kind of formations, different kind of positions. And it's healthy to know that we can transition between those so seamlessly. Webster says, please can we play Cedric more than Hector? Now, because of course it is an evening game, we're not going to get around to be doing a player ratings. So it'd be quite good if we could do some of those. So in terms of Leno, for me, Leno is getting a 9 all day long, 100%. You could give him a 10. I'm sure some people would give him a 10. His distribution was a little bit off, which is probably why I drop him down to a 9. But I'm personally going to give him a 10 in that regard. So let me know what you think. You'd be giving the German goalkeeper there as well. Whilst we do that, though, and getting your thoughts in there, just Kolasinac playing was a bit strange because he's clearly going to be on the move. I think that that's pretty much nailed on right now, that he's going to be moving on from us this summer. So whether or not it was his last game that we'll see him play in an Arsenal shirt, it was a great one. In fact, let's go for Kolasinac's rating after we've done Leno's. Archie reckons Leno was a 10. Tekos Man says 9. 20 out of 10 from Zamir. 10 from Thomas Lear. 10 out of 10 from Charlie. 2 Pensays and only a 9. Gabriel says, Gabriel was a 9 according to Tekos Man. We'll come on to that. Omar says 9. Kolasinac for me, I'd go down as far as saying a 7. Some of the passing was just not on point, and he was really caught off guard a few times, I thought, in the game. It just, for me, didn't quite click at all. 7, I think, could be even a little bit generous. McCarthy says 7 saves plus 2 pen saves equals 9 out of 10 for Leno. I love the way you've summed that up there. Kolasinac, a 4 from Zamir. 5 from One Men. Saliba got a 0 from Kitchener. Now, I genuinely thought there was a real chance that we might see Saliba play today, and we didn't. Now, I saw a lot of Arsenal fans, and weirdly, a lot of rival fans tweeting about, where's Saliba? We've heard all this stuff about Saliba. Where's your guy? Oh, I'm sorry. This guy has not played a competitive game since March. He was injured for a lot of last season and had a recurring injury coming back into the Arsenal fold after he did return after Liga was curtailed. That's why there was sort of that whole thing with Nketiah about him playing the cup final, because we were putting him on a very strict training regimen to try and get him back to full fitness and manage his injury at the same time. And it's probably the biggest reason why he didn't play that cup final, was because of that as well. So stop panicking. Rival fans, chill out. Don't worry. We'll get our young Frenchman in the back line very soon, and he'll be stopping you from scoring. So don't you worry yourselves about that. Saliba will be here, and he will be back very soon. You just have to be patient, because at the end of the day, it's going to take him time before he gets in. Gabriel, what a performance from the young Brazilian. Absolutely, so solid. And it made me a little bit frustrated, because I was sitting there thinking, I wonder what would happen if Gabriel was playing against Liverpool on Monday. That's what I kind of am looking at this as. And just, there's a little bit of frustration around the Brazilian not playing. Easily a 9. I'm close to going to my nearest 9.5, but I'm not gonna, because that would just be doing such a disservice to me to Leno after giving him a 9. But yeah, Gabriel was absolutely spot on today. Absolutely spot on. Other centre-back, Rob Holding, also had a decent game. Really strong in defence. And he's been consistent. And that's one thing you have to say about the guy. He's been absolutely consistent for us since he's come in. Not made too many mistakes. I thought he actually dealt in the Liverpool game on Monday fairly well. You're coming up against Mane, who's arguably, if not the best left winger, not just maybe... Oh, he's up there, isn't he? I mean, what other left wingers can you say? You've got Neymar, who just isn't really performing. I'd argue that Mane is performing at a better level than Neymar is currently. You've got Ronaldo there that, yeah, I suppose Ronaldo, when you think about it. But Mane is certainly up there as one of the best 3 left wingers in the game. And I thought Holding dealt with him really well on Monday. And I thought Holding had a really, really good game again today. Rydog says Gabriel and Collar kept Mo Salah on lockdown. Haroon says Rob Holding gets a 9 from me. Corey reckons a 9.2 for Gabriel. Holding is consistently a 6 out of 10, says Rodney. I think that's incredibly harsh, Rodney. Incredibly harsh. Holding is a 7. The thing about Holding is he's unfashionable. He's unfashionable. You get a young Brazilian coming in for 27 million quid. I'm sorry that Rob Holding cost 1.5 million. I'm sorry that he only cost that much. I'm sorry that he doesn't fit into this nice, exotic sort of new toy that Arsenal fans love. But when the player does well, whether or not he's a boring Rob Holding, he's a boring Englishman, I'm sorry, but no. But let's just admit here that Holding had a very decent game. He might not be Gabriel. He might not be a new centre-back. But at the end of the day, if he's playing well, you give him the credit for it. And I think sometimes a lot of people have that go over their head sometimes. I really do. And I think it's probably down to just being unfashionable to, just like players like Rob Holding, to be honest, and the same with Callum Chambers. I think it probably comes into the same thing. If Gabriel and Holding have a similar sort of performance, I would see easily more skew in the Gabriel's favour because 1, he's younger, 2, he's come in this season, 3, he cost a lot more money. And at the end of the day, we want him to achieve more. Like, we want to do more with Gabriel in the long term, whereas a lot of people can't really see a long-term future necessarily for Holding. And I think that maybe means that their views sometimes of him are a bit skewed. So for me, Holding was just as good as anyone else in that backline was, and better than a few of them as well, and maybe just under the performance of Gabriel in general. But I wouldn't be giving him lower than a 7. I wouldn't be giving him lower than an 8, if I'm honest. I probably would give Holding an 8 at the end of the day. I thought he was really, really good. Cedric kind of divides people. He's a little enigmatic because he's a bit mysterious. He's a bit confusing to kind of talk and break down. That there were times where I was getting really frustrated with what he was doing in the final sort of phase of play. Like, you want those right backs, those right wing backs, the right midfielders that this sort of right back role is being turned into, to be very sort of clinical on that side. But I struggled to like him. I struggled to like Cedric this game. I'm not sure why. I just did. I'm really trying not to let my sort of preconception of him when he came in affect it. I thought he was it's Christopher, he was fine. And that's the thing, he was fine. But he just didn't do enough for me to go like, yeah, he was good. He was good. But no, it didn't quite do that for me. Didn't quite do that for me. Thank you, Danny, for that kind comment, mate. 450 are watching and we've only got 36 likes. Get a grip and show Tom some love and click that thumbs up. Thanks, Danny, mate. Much appreciate the power. If you would like to like the video, please do. Follow the Danny Boy's instructions, I say. Senki, one of our brand new members, says Cedric is definitely a 7. AK reckons he's a 4. Kamal says 7. Loving it from Mark. Thank you, mate. Scored a pen. I mean, he did score a pen. It was quite a nice pen as well. I mean, did you notice how sort of the senior players went up first? Lacazette, Cedric, get the ball rolling. Maitland came on. England call up again. Fantastic news for the young man. Came on, he didn't really have enough time to really sort of impact the game, but he came on and scored a penalty. And I kind of think that Arteta knew that penalties would come in, and you can rely on him. You can rely on old Mainsley for a pen. So lovely stuff from him there. In terms of who actually played on that side, of course, Saka was playing mainly on the left-hand side, and Saka looked really bright. I thought there was times where he didn't get enough support from his sort of left back with Kolasinac. Sometimes he wasn't getting enough. I thought Liverpool kind of put 2 men on him all the time, really closed him down quickly, was on him so fast that he didn't have too much time to think. But there were times that he escaped and did really well in the technical sort of small spaces on the ball. And I quite liked what Saka gave us. It wasn't too free-flowing in terms of an attacking sense. He didn't give us loads of verve up top. But in that position, sort of as a left midfielder, rather than that left wing position that I kind of expected him to play, I thought he did quite well. So I give him a 7, 7.5 probably going into that. I thought he had as Rydog says there, he had a really good first half, kind of faded a bit in the second half, and 7, I think, as we both agree on that one, is probably about right. Danny Ceballos was amazing in the first half, says Aaron B. And he was, but he kind of faded. And I think he's kind of on that 6-7 sort of boundary there, Danny was in that game. He had a very good first half, but second half he kind of faded, and I think that's why Arteta took him off in the end. Saka 7, says AK. Tekos Man says Saka won 7 out of 7 defensive duels in the first half. Fantastic stuff from the workhorse. Absolutely so. 0.5, Tom. I don't know what you're on about, mate. Christopher Fung says, can't wait until we get Pepe. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Pepe. He's difficult to talk about because You can't. Very quickly before we do, let's highlight some of the Ceballos things. It'd be amiss of me not to. So Christopher Fung saying Ceballos was about a 6. And Saruba says, man, you can't praise Saka even when he gives such a great performance. I did praise him. I just praised him. What are you listening to? You got your headphones in, mate. I'm not sure you're listening properly. Pepe is Bambi. I mean, we saw that. If you're a member of the... if you're an expert member or higher, you're involved in our Discord server and there's a chat going on continuously. It's like a continuous WhatsApp group of fantastic speaking Arsenal fans. And if you want to join that Discord server, then make sure you join up as a member and you can do. But there's a lovely chat going on there. And yes, Bambi was seemingly a feature of the Discord server. A lot of flailing legs, a lot of sort of step overs, and then not really knowing what he was going to do at the end of it. I thought he struggled. I can't go above a 6 really for Pepe today. The price tag will continue to bother me. It is going to continue to bother me until he really pulls off something unbelievably good and is consistent. But just, I'm just not quite sure. I don't want to say that I can't see a future for Pepe now because it's still so soon. I say it's so soon. It's just a transition from he's transitioning from Liga to the Premier League, which in itself is difficult. It's got a transition from a Lille side that is completely based around counter-attacking to a very possession-based side, even though today kind of more suited that counter-attacking style, but just couldn't quite get there. There was a chance he had in the second half where he kind of took players on, went across the box, cut back. He was also onside for that chance that he was played through in, where he had a clear shot on goal because he cut back and absolutely wrong-footed the Liverpool defender. So he would have had a clear shot on goal had the correct decision been made. So maybe we'd be talking differently if that's put onside and he scores. But it's just a lot of money. I will just continue to bring that up, and I can't help it. It's just really difficult to not. When he costs that much money, it's really hard to not bring it up. Really, really hard. Who else we've got to talk about? Nketiah, didn't for me today. Probably about a 6, Nketiah. I don't know what it was. There's just some games Nketiah is great in. And he comes on and he scores and he does well. I thought he was good in the Leicester game. I thought he was really good in the Leicester game. I thought he was energetic. I thought he ran around a lot. I thought that the runs that he was making were proactive. I thought they were intelligent. And it was just a little bit more of the headless chicken about his play today. He just didn't quite get into the game, didn't get his foot on the ball, wasn't given the chances maybe that he should have done. Yannick says 4, Chris says 5, Eddie a 5/4, 4 from Omar, 4 from Archie. Eddie not impressed. Eddie was considerably worse than Pepe. I agree with that 100%. What about Willock, says Smaug Fireball. Willock was energetic and he ran all day long. And I think if you're going to say that Pepe's a 6, I'd think that Willock probably had a slightly better game than Pepe did. So I'd probably go around the 6.5. Maybe not good enough to reach that 7. And I suppose I say I don't like talking in 0.5s, and I definitely don't do them when I do the show with Raf. But in this case, I think he was just that slightly bit better than Pepe, Willock, but wasn't quite enough to get into that 7. I thought that he ran around all day long. I thought he had a proper workhorse performance, really putting the energy for the team. And sometimes that's something that goes unnoticed. When you sort of the game's passing you by, you don't really get and you don't really see it. But I genuinely saw a lot of effort from Willock today, running up and down the line, making tackles, taking people on, playing decent passes, being in the right positions. It wasn't quite enough to get a 7 for me, but it's as close to a 7 as you feasibly could. 6.1, says Amir. Needs a loan, says Cyrus. And I kind of agree with what you're saying there, Cyrus, 100%. Willock gets a 4 from Omar. Yannick Matt gives Willock a 6. A 2 from Calvin Close. Passenger most of the times. Can't wait to see Emile Smith-Rowe. I agree with you on the second point. Emile Smith-Rowe really went in the team. I think that's very, very harsh to be giving him a 2. I don't think he was a passenger at all. I thought he actually took the game to himself. I thought he's running about, it wasn't because of the game. I thought the way he ran in the game was because of him. Like, it wasn't him just jogging up and down the play with play. It was a case of him being proactive, making runs in the right times, taking the ball up the other end of the pitch, getting back when he needed to, being defensive, playing like a right midfielder, which isn't his usual position. And I thought he did it actually quite well. So there you go. That's Willock. Who are we missing? I feel like we're forgetting someone. We haven't really talked about Lacazette. Came on, didn't really get to do much. Scored a penalty. Let's give him a 5, 6. I mean, other than that, there wasn't really anyone else I don't think that we've missed. So please let me know if I have missed anyone. Oh, Granit Xhaka. Yes, we have missed one. Granit Xhaka. So, yeah, did Tom skip his employer? Yes, very funny, Yannick. No, I completely forgot about Xhaka. And maybe that goes to show that he wasn't particularly in the game as much. Well, now I'm thinking back, he did play off a couple of decent passes wide. He did what Xhaka does. I'm not going to put him over a 5, 6, to be honest. He was solid in the middle of the park. Maybe I'm being harsh. Christopher says 7. Captain Xhaka reminded me. I forgot he was made captain. Completely forgot about Xhaka. 4 from Iron Cub. 7 from TB. There's a lot of different things. Smav Fireball reckons that Xhaka gets an 8. Omar says 4. I'm not sure it was just a sort of I don't think he was a passenger. I think that's definitely too harsh of his performance. I just thought he just kind of went with the game, played the passes that he needed to. He just had a decent display. Didn't really put too many feet wrong. I can't think of any major mistakes. Otherwise, we'd be thinking about it a lot more. But yeah, and Calvin Cloet says, I mean, Xhaka captain. Who would have thought? I mean, he's back now, starting as captain. What a turnaround for the guy, and fair play to him as well. It's all on him. It's all been down to him, and fair play to him. So yeah, 100%. Highlighting the Xhaka boom in the chat. Fantastic stuff. So make sure you're using members. Make sure you're using your Xhaka emojis in the chat box for me. So that kind of rounds up the player ratings. Now we talk about some of the controversy, because Reece Nelson didn't play, didn't come off the bench. Arsenal needed a goal. He's someone that thinks that you could probably get a goal. Didn't play. As I told you, information is that he was not. He just was not happy about not being in the squad for the Liverpool game. And for me, in terms of what that means, it means he's probably going to be going out on loan this season, unfortunately, for a lot of people. A lot of people kind of want to see him stay. And I think that when you think about what he has in front of him with Willian and Pepe and, of course, and Saka, and I mean, you've got other options there, and he's just not going to be getting into that right wing spot this season, and the left wing spot is going to be taken up by Aubameyang. So he's just not going to be getting into the team. A loan will probably do him well. His value needs to be maintained. If you can get minutes on loan, definitely needs to be in the Premier League with someone like Palace or Southampton, or I was going to say Burnley, just because they're interested, but I don't really want him going to Burnley because it just stinks of Gnabry going to West Brom. So I'd rather Nelson went off to a Southampton or a Crystal Palace. I think that would suit him a lot better. The draw's on, so make sure you keep me updated in the chat box. I'm going to try and stay on and answer a few more of your questions as it's going on. So it'll be interesting to see who we get in the next round. But Ozzy Guna says, Tom, I would love to see Martinelli become our future striker over Eddie. What are your thoughts? I really don't know, mate, because I don't know how he is going to return. Arsenal have got Man City. Okay then. Great. Fantastic. Lovely stuff. Arsenal get Man City in the next round. So that's just great, isn't it? That's just great. Wonderful. That's just wonderful, isn't it? That's fine. We knocked out the champions of England, so we can try and knock out the runner-ups of England. Yeah, I mean, wonderful. That's probably the best place to sort of end the show then, isn't it? I mean, what a way to put a downer on the end of it. Man City, what do we think about that? I don't know. I don't know what team they'll play. They usually take this competition really seriously, especially Guardiola loves it. They'll want revenge from the semi-final in the FA Cup. So, yeah, is what it is. It is what it is. I don't really know what more to say, to be honest, about that. It's kind of put a little bit of downer on the evening. But other than that, I'm just happy that we won. It gives us that good boost going into the next few games. So, yeah. React to Leno's interview. What did Leno say? Have I completely missed that? Let's have a quick search up. What did Leno say? Here we go. Come on. But no. Fantastic night for him. Come on. Surely someone's posted some of his quotes. Great confidence from the Arsenal goalkeeper. The club always gave me the feeling I was the number one. I am the number one. I will always be the number one. Love that. That's fantastic. Great pause. I prefer next time to win this game without a penny share, but if it's like that, it's even better. Great stuff. Absolutely brilliant. I love his confidence. Really, really strong. And I mean, doesn't it just go to show? You can moan all day long about Martinez going, and you can say that Leno is bad. You can say Leno is whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, he had an absolutely fantastic performance, and you can't take that away from him. Arsenal were right to do what they did. They got a lot of money for Martinez. No one was coming in with the money that would be required to buy Leno. We need the money for the market. And that's kind of where the focus goes now. Arsenal's next game's at the weekend, and there's going to be a lot of rumours and news flying around between now and that game. So let's wait and see what happens. I'm praying that we can get something done. If we can, amazing. If we can get a result at the weekend and continue this run of being just sort of keeping the momentum going after this win, it's going to be so important. But if we can get what needs to be done in the market done, which we all know what that is, we all know what we need to do. If we can get that done, then we're on to a winner. We really are. But if we don't get it done, there is going to be pandemonium. It's probably fair to say. It's probably the word to use right now. There's going to be absolute pandemonium if we don't get the business done that we need to get done. So to finish off the show, sorry, all the Arteta haters. Sorry, guys, you've taken an L tonight. I know that you don't really enjoy it when the Arsenal win a match. I'm sorry that your support of the team has boiled down to this now, that you have to disenjoy the games that we actually get a result in. But we did, and we won, and we beat the champions of England in the cup, whether whatever team they played, whether whatever lineup they put out, whatever lineup we put out, a win's a win. It doesn't matter. As a good friend of mine, Vin Diesel, once said, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. So thank you ever so much for listening, people. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, as it always is. If you could drop a like on the video to let me know you enjoyed it and you're enjoying me putting the effort into making these videos, and the new sleek thumbnails with videos coming very, very soon. I'm going to enjoy making those and getting the feedback from you guys on them. So 100% can't wait to show you all of that. But as always, and every time we do this, and always needs to be put in the chat box by our fantastic members, you know what emoji you need to be using in the chat. So make sure you do that. I'll see you again very, very soon. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, as it always is. And as always, up the Arsenal.